How it goes, the family? Welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Hopefully, you guys having a great and exceptional day. Well, evening, as I like to say, but it's all good in the neighborhood. Anyways, going to talk about a subject matter that's straight to the point, near and dear to my heart, and very interesting because that's why I love engaging with people. This is why I love going live. But as I was having a discussion with multiple amount of people in regards to why a lot of people are not successful in life, even when their intentions are good, even when their intentions are pure, and we're all guilty of this. So I'm not um, casting stones in a glass house because I've been guilty of being lazy before in my life. So, everybody's hitting on my Instagram video. I guess the hashtags are working. I'm literally getting Instagram when I'm not. It's funny when I'm not live on Instagram. Everybody's hitting it up. But anyways, are people just lazy? That is the question. Are people just lazy? And I say that because after having a conversation, one of my friends, Ruiz, other friend Pierre, we were just having a discussion about people that have families, people that have jobs, and people that are good, hardworking people when it comes to their families and when it comes to their jobs, and there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. So I'm not shaming anybody, but it really boils down to when people have goals and ambitions outside of being a good parent and being a good spouse. My personal opinion, if that's what you are, that should just come as a given anyways. You should want to be a good parent and good spouse, because you want to be a good person at the end of the day. It's nothing one has to brag about, but that's just me. But anyways, what I'm really getting at is, at the end of the day, most working people work between 40 to 45 hours a week. So before the pandemic, during the pandemic, right now, a lot of people work a certain amount of hours. Okay. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because everything has a plus and minuses, right? We all have the same 24 hours in a day, but we all approach life in a different specific way. And most will probably be like, well, Larry, what's your point? Well, my point is we all have the same 24 hours in a day. And you know how a lot of people love to hate on the billionaires and the millionaires of today, whether they're celebrities, whether they're the self-mades, from the Damon Johns to the Bob Johnsons to the Russell Simmons to the Elon Musks to the Jeff Bezoses. I can go on and on and on. Okay. People love to hate on them. But it's like, and the Bill Gates and whatnot, the Warren Buffetts, and I mean, heck, look at a person like Warren Buffett. He still works like he's in his 20s. That's what I have to admire for a person like that. I've said it about Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, how they've got all the success in the world, and yet they're still working hard. They're still building. They still live their life like basically they just started anew and whatnot. And it's not like they're not billionaires and whatnot. They're still living. They're still surviving. They're still thriving. They're still they're just acting like every day is a new norm because they don't lose their hunger and they don't lose their taste. Unfortunately, a lot of people with an employee mindset, and I was guilty of this as well. Like I said, once again, I'm not casting stones in the glass house, but a lot of people with an employee mindset want to be the lazy person in the room. And when I say lazy person in the room, they basically want laying on the couch doing nothing and binging because they had a long day at work. On the couch. Some certain instances, they got their alcoholic beverage in hand. They got the big bowl of popcorn or whatever. They veg out on the television, and they, especially nowadays. And I think the pandemic has created two types of people: the types of people, or even basically increase the mindset and attitudes of two kinds of people: the people that want to have a go-getter mentality, learn, grow, um, take action when it comes to accomplishing certain goals, and then other people that just want to veg out in front of their cell phone or veg out in front of the television and watch every single miniseries that or movie that's ever came out as possible. You know what I mean? And spend hours upon hours a day doing it. Those people are lazy. And I used to be that person. I would get off of work. I would sit in front of my TV. That's why I said I'm not casting stones. I would sit in front of my TV and I'd watch TV for hours. I'll go old fashioned. I even the show Weeds, the Sons of Anarchy, The Shield. I could what is it? The show True Blood. I used to binge hours upon hours upon hours on television. And the crazy thing is, now I was still reading my books at the time. I think I read way more now compared to back then. But the crazy thing is the amount of hours, because to watch, especially like to watch a whole season of a show, I spent about 3 to 4 hours a day after work watching a television show, okay, or watching a movie over and over and over again. And that's my point at the end of the day, is what I'm really getting to is if I would have spent that kind of time back then, the 3 to 4 hours working on my goals and objectives and whatnot, instead of me just spending the time living vicariously through actors and actresses and whatnot, watching these television shows, I think I'd be a lot more further in my businesses today than I am, right now. Um, I don't think I necessarily be at the finish line, but I think I'd be a lot more towards the middle line in regards to the amount of real estate I own, the amount of products I'm selling online, the amount of affiliate marketing organizations I'm a part of, the amount of life insurance policies that I have. I think I'd be much further ahead if I would have spent that time doing that. Because then the downside to that is I was associated with a lot of people that's all they wanted to talk about as well. Yeah, watching hours of The Walking Dead. Nothing wrong with watching TV, but I'm just saying I spent hours upon hours doing watching seasons upon seasons a day after work and whatnot. And I think around that time of my life, it's because I just finished college. I wasn't working 2 jobs anymore. So I guess I call, like, it's like, what is it, between 2009 and 2012, the time of, well, really, yeah, 2009 between 2013, the time of just binging on television and things of that nature, watching Big Bang Theory. The list goes on and on. Okay, now if I would have spent, because if you really, and let's just do the math, let's keep it simple. Let's really do the math here. Because if you really put it into perspective, me spending 3 to 4, sometimes up to 5 hours a day, watching television, let's go with 4 hours times, obviously, 4. So that's about 16 hours, a week, sometimes up to 20 hours a week of me watching television and whatnot. And that time could have been spent working on another goal and aspiration outside of getting a college degree. That time could have been spent figuring out how I can increase profit margins within my, at the time, 401k with my employer, and individual retirement account that I started a couple of years ago that I still didn't even do enough research. And that was, when I look back on this now, this, I came up with this discussion tonight because I look back on this now, up to 16 to 20 hours a week after being off the clock from working 40 hours a week. I'm just saying to myself, I'm imagining, and let me know in the comment section if you've ever been in this category in life. Imagine if I would have put that extra 20 hours a week, maybe even working a part-time job, even though I didn't need to, I'd have more, money saved up. But I think if I really, I don't think, I know if I really would have put more time into figuring out the trades, the tricks and the trades of the stock market, really figuring out how to utilize the house that I bought at that time, how to utilize it as leverage more than just I'm getting my paycheck, I'm going on a vacation, I'm watching movies, and it's mindset, and obviously now that was 10 years, over 10 years ago. That's the different me. It's funny. The beautiful thing about the social media is, you see these pictures and these memories that pop up from 10, 12 years ago. And I look at that guy then compared to who I am now, totally different people. And obviously that's how it's supposed to be. But if even like 20% of that guy who I am today would have been in me back then, I just think my life would be a lot further. Let me know in the comment sections if you feel the same way. Okay. Because I'm going to start, before I even get into the actual time amount of people that actually watch TV, and actual time that people spend on actually spend on watching actually being on social media and whatnot, besides the Netflix and the Hulus and whatnot, which I utilize all these things. So once again, I'm not casting stones or anything of that nature in a glass house. Hey, I've cut my the time that I watch this stuff. Most of the stuff I actually consume nowadays is content, because not only does it give me great ideas for me to come up with the content of my own, but the content I actually consume helps me figure out and formulate different business strategies and whatnot to implement. So instead of me watching a bunch of reality television or watching fictional characters and whatnot, because that's what TV is, I'm actually listening to people that are in the businesses that I'm involved with in regards to insurance, in regards to real estate, in regards to e-commerce and whatnot, and figuring out the best course of action for me to proceed so that I can elevate myself and hopefully I can help elevate others all at the same time. All right. Now, this was actually Acorn article that actually was sent today, and I actually have an account with Acorn that I utilize for individual retirement account and doing the stocks thing. And I recommend not giving financial advice. Look, do your research, all that good stuff. But I definitely recommend people, if you're a first time investor, to just start off with Acorns. This is great for junior investors and people that don't know much about the stock market. But according to a new survey from Transamerica Center for Retirement Studies, half of millennials from the years born from 1981 to 1996, so I fall in that category, believe that they'll need 300,000 or less in savings to retire comfortably, a fraction of what most estimates say they'll need. And I agree with that as well. Gen X born from 1965 to 1980 and Gen Z born from 1997 to 2012 had slightly higher estimates for their retirement needs. The median guess for each group came in about $500,000 in savings. Boomers born from 1946 to 1964 had the highest median guess at $750,000, which makes sense. Many of them are near or at retirement right now, so they have a clear picture of what their retirement needs will be. However, even that amount probably won't be enough to retire on in comfort, experts say. The estimated retirement savings for all workers are on the low side, says Catherine Collison, CEO and president of Transamerica Institute, the parent foundation for the Center for Retirement Studies. She stated, "I'm concerned that they are not thinking big enough in in terms of how somebody should save." Now, the boomers had the highest estimate of $750,000 in savings and things of that nature. Now, before I even go further, I look at those numbers and I say, okay, that's those from a 300,000 to a 500,000 to a 750,000. That's all fine and dandy, and that's not those are not numbers to sneeze at and whatnot. But even if you're living in the backwoods of Louisiana, Mississippi, or Pennsylvania, or any other the cheap states in the United States of America, one thing I would say, you better hope that obviously you have somewhat of a clean bill of health. Two, you own the house that you live in without a mortgage on it or anything of that nature. When I say retire comfortably, and then three, have asset producing items, obviously, or have some sort of a side hustle so that you can make ends meet, especially in case of an emergency. Because the thing is, when they say they're not thinking big enough, I don't think a lot of people factor in that something will happen to the property that you live in if you own the property outright, or health incidences will happen. If you own a vehicle, something major will happen with a car. So there's so many other things to factor in, and I'm not even mentioning. But a lot of people, they throw out the number. I mean, to be honest with you, I think most people probably need. I'm gonna go with $3 to $4 million in savings just to live somewhat comfortably and have emergency funds, but yet and still have a mindset of how can they still grow money, how can they possibly make money from a part-time perspective, just in case, because nothing's guaranteed anymore. One, and then two, I think most of the generation before the boomers was the last generations to even have comfortable retirements. Baby boomers were definitely the last generation to have comfortable retirement. So and then, of course, the article states, so how much money do you really need to retire comfortably? The rule of thumb is that you want an annual retirement income that's about 75% of your pre-retirement income, according to experts. Based on Grove's retirement calculator, the median millennial age 32 earning the median U.S. household income of $68,000 would need to save $8 million in order to retire on 3/4 of their income at the age of 67. That might sound daunting, but it doesn't have to be overwhelming. There's plenty of help out there. And of course, they get into the, because at the end, the article really gets into, how Acorn can help you with your retirement and things of that nature, but I'm not going to get into that. But, let me know what your numbers are at the end of the day. What do you think is for working people? Because most business people have a mindset, I'm either going to continuously, make moves in my business or businesses until I die. But most working people have been sold on this. You're supposed to retire at age 65 or 67 or whatnot, even though most people can't afford to retire at that age anymore, because most pensions, unless you put in a significant amount of money away and have other asset producing incomes happening and whatnot, and being as frugal as possible, actually in a sense, part of the minimalist society. Because even moving to a cheaper state nowadays, that's becoming a thing of the past. Okay, great. It's what are you doing with your money? Are you just going on lavish, luxurious vacations? You got the overpriced house. You got the overpriced car. What is your savings and investments looking like before retirement? Let me know, okay? Because I know you have to have a multitude of them, not just one or two. Unfortunately, you have a lot of people that are retiring now. Unfortunately, you have a lot of people that are retiring. They only have two things to count on, which is their Social Security, which is not going to be much, and their somewhat pension plan or whatnot. Is that going to be enough? You let me know. All right. But anyways, before I get into the actual time that people actually spend on Netflix and that time that people actually spend on social media, I'm going to go for a commercial break because got to take a little break here. So I'll see you guys in a second. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to LarrysAnythingGoes. Hopefully, you're having a great day. If you've been watching LarrysAnythingGoes programming, you know that we are not only providing great financial intelligence content as much as possible by interviewing financial professionals in the travel industry, real estate industry, etc., and so forth. But we provide various services when it comes to specific products that we sell, anything that you would actually find on Amazon or actually at Walmart, etc. And we actually provide specific products due to today's current crisis and whatnot, to ensure that we provide the right services and products that you need at a reasonable price when it comes to medical face masks, when it comes to hand sanitizer, and when it comes to latex gloves, things of that nature, and etc. and so forth, toilet paper, paper towels. We have what you need. Also, family, don't forget that LarrysAnythingGoes is part of the marketing network known as Ghost Partners. We have the opportunity to buy cryptocurrency and allow others to invest with you as becoming an affiliate marketing partner. And obviously, if they purchase a package with the program, you're able to make money off their package purchases and make money off of their crypto purchases and things of that nature. If you want to join, please follow the links in the description and give me a call as soon as you sign up and purchase a package, and we'll go from there. But definitely, it's all about the best way to make money moves. Have currency with one another, and to ensure that currency is always being spoken of on all levels, so it benefits everyone and not just one specific person. That's a lot of things that people forget about. So think about joining the program, and we'll be able to go from there. But if not, either way, it's always appreciated. And thank you for watching, and hopefully you guys have a great day and continue to make money moves so you don't live like a fool. Take care. As you can see, with our various products, we have our financial apparel, as you see, wearing LarrysAnythingGoes t-shirt, financial intelligence is sexy, face mask, latex gloves, things of that nature, obviously ensure the safety of you and your family all at the same time. You want to ensure that you get the best products and see the actual products that we're actually providing for you, and give you another view of not only the shirts and the masks, but actually another view of actual latex gloves and the actual hand sanitizer. Because one thing we've learned throughout this unfortunate crisis is that we have to take more precautionary measures to ensure not only the safety for ourselves, but for our families. And having a great pair of hand sanitizers, latex gloves, and medical face masks will ensure that safety. And with all that being said, hopefully you guys check out our online store. We have various products that you see here. with a couple of clicks, especially if you're paying via PayPal, it makes life that much easier for you to purchase our various products, especially during this unfortunate situation. You see the apparel from Larry's Anything Goes. We have the medical products when it comes to hand sanitizer, latex gloves, medical face masks, things of that nature, and various other products. So please check out Larry's Anything Goes. Support small local businesses. We greatly appreciate it. And hopefully that you have a good day. All right, family, we're back. Thank you for checking out the video. So this is what was very interesting to me. All right, when it boils down to how much people actually consume on television, I gave you my numbers back in the day, and I didn't, like I said, just doing it now, I didn't realize I spent so much time, as I like to call, getting entertained, but then in some instances, kind of living vicariously through Hollywood and whatnot. So, like I said, we're all, we all you grew up in America. We're all guilty of this stuff. So, like I said, there's no shame here. There's no shame in our game, or anything of that nature. But anyways, when it boils down to it, most houses, there's a television everywhere. There's gadgets everywhere, from cell phones to tablets to all of the above. So it's not a big surprise that a lot of people watch a lot of television, and a lot of people are consuming a lot of, especially Netflix, and Hulu, Amazon Prime, et cetera, and so forth. So it's interesting times that we're living in. I'm not going to disagree with that whatsoever. But when it boils down to it, and I can't believe Netflix was actually conceived in 1997. I forget that it was actually started off as a DVD rental service, because it was so long ago. I remember when you saw the Netflix boxes and whatnot, because they basically helped shut down Blockbuster, and they even came to Blockbuster saying, hey, we're here to show you the new wave, but are you ready to get on board with it? It's up to you. But anyways, when it boils down to the statistics of it all, when it comes to how much people have been consuming Netflix within the last couple of years, it's actually gone up tremendously. It's gone up tremendously in a big way. 'Cause especially with the pandemic, more and more people were spending way more time at home. So it's not a big surprise. And actually, an average of about people spend an average about 2 to 3 hours on Netflix a day. 2 to 3, sometimes 4 hours, because they got so many great shows. And like I said, I've watched a series on Netflix. I'm not knocking it, you know what I mean? But for me, I guess for me, well, nowadays, back in the day, if I would have had Netflix the way that Netflix is now, I probably would have been watching 4 or 5 hours of it a day and whatnot. At most, you might catch me watching an hour of it, but I'm usually just listening to it as I'm working on my businesses and whatnot, trying to multitask. And in some instances, it's good because you can't. No one can really consume content all day and whatnot. But I've gone down from 4 to 5 hours to an hour or two and whatnot. And that's throughout the course of a whole day. That's not just me. As soon as I get off of work, I got to come home and binge on that. No, I'm listening to the podcast. I'm getting focused. I'm staying motivated or whatnot. But the average adult and whatnot spends about 3 to 4 or 5 hours a day and whatnot. Certain kids, certain age groups and whatnot can spend up to 6 to 7 hours a day and whatnot, especially the ones that don't have that are not, they're teenagers, but they're not at the point where they're working a part-time job, or they're not playing sports or things of that nature, extracurricular activities. Being one thing I've learned the most, and I wish I was more active in high school, I can say that, is that being busy and being productive is the freaking best way to be as disciplined as possible. Okay. I've learned that the hard way, especially from working out, from dieting and things of that nature. Like, just that word of discipline. And I've said this 1,000 times. I'll say it till the day I die and whatnot. That word of being as disciplined as possible. And that's why so many people who were in the armed services, people who work in the medical field, people that work in law enforcement and whatnot, are some of the most disciplined beings on the planet. That's why a lot of people you see within the celebrity culture, they do their darndest to train with Navy SEALs or Special Forces. On a great example, LL Cool J. He is trained with Special Forces down at, I remember he told me, at Camp Pendleton with the Marines and whatnot. He's trained with the best of them and whatnot because he wants to be in the best shape of his life. and challenging himself constantly. Guy's always been in the best shape ever. So, but constantly challenging himself and doing things that he's never done before. It's helped him not only keep the physique that he has today, but it does something to his mental. It says to him mentally, I can do anything that I put my mind to. It might hurt, it might be brutal, but I can do anything that I can put my freaking mind to. And that says a lot as well and whatnot. Like, a great example, because even back in those days, 2007, 8, 9 time frame, I used to smoke cigarettes. So I quit doing that. I've been, trying to eat better and be a lot more healthier and whatnot. Because, the older you get, certain vices you just need to let go, if you want to live a better and, healthier life. That's just a reality of life and things of that nature. But I will say cutting down the content amount of Netflix and Hulu and all that stuff is like probably one of the best things anybody can do, just to be honest with you. If we're just going to be, if I'm just going to be frank about it, it's one of the best things that anyone can do, because escapism is not always the best route. I think having 1 or 2 days a week where you do that is cool, but 7 days a week of 4 or 5 hours on, watching television or whatnot, on any level, I think it's a waste of time. Doing it every day, 7 days a week. That's, for working adult people, whether you own a business or, it's like, um, escapism isn't always the best route. Always trying to be entertained isn't always the best route either. So that's just one thing I can say with sincerity, because it says the average American watches more than 4 hours of TV each day, 28 hours a week, you know, 28 hours a week, it's like nonstop in a 65 lifespan. So it's like when you add, what I'm really getting at is when you add that time up, if you put that energy towards, if you wanted to get another degree, if you wanted to get another skill set and whatnot, if you wanted to open a business or try to increase the value of your business or your brand and whatnot, that those hours really should be spent doing that instead of watching Netflix and Hulu. It's like 1 or 2 days out of the week, mellowing out, winding down, and relaxing and watching something fun. That's cool. But you really can't. The thing is, and a lot of entrepreneurs say this, the reason why they're successful is because your average person can't out hustle them. That's the main thing at the end of the day. Your average person can't out hustle them. That's why when people spend so much time, even on the same amount of time on social media, majority of the time it's because they're just taking selfies or making twerk videos. They're trying to look cute and whatnot, but there's no real substance going on behind it to the point where people are actually engaged. Like I love the folks that spend hours, a lot of time on social media, like I do, from an economic standpoint and a building standpoint and a cultural standpoint and whatnot. Especially Instagram is famous for this. People getting on and they're engaged, and I see it all the time. I hop on and people are engaging and they're learning from each other. There's, it's like church/classes in session. And I got a lot of love and respect for the people that do that. Okay. So moral of the story is, because I'm about to call it a night, is do your darndest. Do your darndest to, whether you have a job or you work in a business, do your darndest to ensure that you put as much time in as possible to your business or your studies and whatnot, because nothing can outbeat that. Nothing can outcompete that. Is the time and energy that you put into it. Just like when you put time and energy into your family, you put time and energy into your relationship, you put time and energy into your job and whatnot. Put that same energy and put it into trying to be healthier physically, mentally, and spiritually. Put that same kind of energy into saying, okay, I want to get these certifications or whatnot, or I want to get this job. So what do I have to do to get this job? I want to start this business. What roads do I have to go? We live in the freaking age of the how-to online, the digital age. Like 20, 30 years ago, everybody had to read a book and whatnot. Now you can read a book or you can listen to somebody, a professional who's done it on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? That's the point at the end of the day that I'm getting to. Okay, we live in the time of the how-to, but this extra excessive time that people have when they're off the clock from work, especially to my folks that have been on unemployment for over a year, you've had time to put more energy into your goals and aspirations of what you want to do with your life or anything else outside of what you've already done with your life. You've had this time, you've had these chances. You know what I'm getting at? So on that note, family, do the great 3 free things: like, share, and subscribe. Hopefully you guys have a great day. Don't forget to check out the online store. I put the link in the description. If you're a crypto investor like myself, don't forget to think about joining the Gold Standard Partners. We have the opportunity to not only buy cryptocurrency, but you have the opportunity to get a cryptocurrency card. opportunity to refer others to do the same thing with referral marketing, and obviously be able to make money off of them purchasing crypto packages and referring others to do the same thing. All right. So hopefully you guys have a great day. I'm out of here for the night. And I think I was going to make all these videos today, but hey, I had the energy. So I said, burn, baby, burn. But hopefully you guys enjoy. Thank you for the new subscribers, trying to get their subscribership up and whatnot. Let's continue to support each other, family. That's all I can say on that. All right. We're all we got at the end of the day. All the hate you need to go to the side, regardless of who you vote for. If you don't vote, regardless of what your religion is, regardless of what state you live in, it's just time to come together and make moves. Our elder generation did it back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and 60s. It's time for us to do it in a great way, and then let's move forward. Stay economically on code, and you'll stay on the road, all right? Take care, family.